Hello, my name is Tracy Smith, and I have Scratch Kitchen and Anarchy here on YouTube. For those that don't know me, this is my top 10 canning tips. Now, this series was proposed by Linda from Linda's Pantry and Liesa from Sutton Daze. They opened the floodgates for us. They opened the door to everyone who does videos or just wants to comment. So, here we go. Now, I've been canning for 2 years. So, tip number 10, research canners. Alright, research them. Learn why some people like the All-American compared to the Presto. I have a Presto. I've named her Bertha. She does everything. There's nothing she cannot do.
Bertha's also annoying.
That's my 17-year-old daughter. Also annoying.
Just like you.
Presto is a mirror. Cannons are a rubber gasket to metal seal. All-American is metal to metal seal. Some of them have like a gauge that tells you PSI. Some don't. Learn why people use which one. Figure out what size will work for you and your family. Tip number 9. Learn what your family likes. When I first started canning, I went completely bonkers. I'm surprised the dog didn't end up in the can, to be honest. My daughter's over here give me a funny face. But I also canned some stuff that, well, I ended up giving to a friend of mine. And her family ate it. So learn what your family likes. Build some kind of system that works for you and your family. That's Trixie, our cat. Now, 8. Assess the size of jars you need. Again, this will depend on how big a family you have. It's just my daughter and me. If I'd known in 2018 what I know now, I would have gone for the 1.5 jars instead of the quart. I think there's like 1 cup difference, but you have to run the 1.5 as a quart. Anyway, so that really would have been the biggest one we would have needed. Otherwise, I would have just stuck with pints, half pints, jam, and jellies. Little containers. Now, if you have a big family like Jammerrille Stewart or Amy Maryon, then you better be going for the quarts. And that's as, sorry about that. That is as big as you can safely can in. Or you can dry can in the big half-gallon ones. But that's a whole other beast, a whole other thing. Check out Beth from our Half-Acre Homestead. She does those quite well. Along with Tessie from Tessie Homesteading Mobile Home Living. Alright. 7. Purchase current books. This is a good book. I cannot believe a government that screws up everything else got this right. I have no idea how that happened. They got it right here. This is more of the, you have been blessed with 20 boxes of green beans and you need to put them in a jar. That's your book. This is a wonderful book. It is one of my favorites. It was one of my first books. I also have ball books, but this is really one you want to get to start with because Miss Verosa was very genius and she did a whole chapter on Tyler lids. On those alone. That would also go for any other brand of reusable lids. This is another book. Most canning cookbooks are directed toward water bath canning. This baby is all about the pressure canning. This is one I learned to pressure can from. I have yet to come across a bad recipe in here. And it has maybe 20 water bath recipes, but it's mainly canning. Love it. Now, I do have ball books. And with that, I want to say this. If you are blessed with a inherited canning book, don't throw it away. Okay? Don't. There's a lot of history in those pages. Just take the recipe, go to freshpreserve.com, enter the recipe into the search, and it'll pull it up. It'll pull up a more updated version of it. And it may not even be different at all. But you can always print out the newer, version of the recipe and put it in a book. But don't throw them out. Keep them. 6. Test recipes. What the hell does that mean? Test a recipe. I canned some soups that had I cooked up a small batch and served it for dinner, I wouldn't have canned. I have a recipe for a chicken enchilada soup that sounded absolutely delicious, but it didn't go over. Again, that was in the bunch that went to a friend of mine, her family, and kids. Devoured it. Alright. Start simple. When I started canning, I started with beans. Now, those of you who are not familiar with me, my daughter is part Mexican. So, beans and rice are a huge staple in our diet. So, I started canning beans. No, you cannot can rice. If you do, you're on your own. I'm not going to help you. I started with beans. And then I went to chicken. Okay. The first time I tried doing chicken, I cooked it off, cooled it, ran through a food processor. I didn't realize I should put a liquid of some kind in the jar with it. And I didn't realize that the pressure inside the canner would condense it, would shrink it, compact it. So, y'all, that was when I brought the cans out. I had no idea what the hell happened. Okay, what happened here? The pressure literally squeezed all the chicken right together. It had the texture of a sponge. Of a brand new kitchen sponge. Now, I did use it and it was good. I mean, we used it for a lot of different stuff. Do I do that now? No. No way. If I realized then I should have added like a broth or something like that to it, I would have. That's what I mean, start simple. Alright. Create a system for tagging. Find a system that works for you. What works for us is not going to work for you. I was making my own little labels for stuff. That takes time, it takes ink, it takes paper, and it wastes paper if you don't fill the paper up. So find something that will work for you and your family. 3. FIFO. First in, first out. Every time you do a new canning session, bring those items forward and put the new in the back. It's very simple. And always check these things. Check them frequently. If you smell something, stop what you're doing and hunt that smell down. Alright. 2. Plan and organize. The French have a term, mise en place. It means everything in front of you. When you get ready to do a canning session, once you've chose your recipe, you have got your canner out, you've got your stuff prepped and ready, Have everything in front of you. Have your jars hot. Have your lids ready. Have your rings ready. Or if you're using the recyclable lids, have the gaskets ready. Have all the stuff in front of you. And piece of advice, if you have a recipe that calls for 9 jars, do 3 more. Do 3 extra. Because if you need an extra jar, you'll already have one can. You will not have to stop in the middle and go hunt one down. You'll always already have 3 extra jars ready. Now, that goes into organizing. Make sure you plan your time. Now, if you're going to do ground beef, here's something I do. Take the ground beef, put it in a crock pot before you go to bed, put water in it, put a seasoning in it, whatever you can use, salt, pepper, not iodized salt, and let it cook in your slow cooker. Hey, this is where you can break out your Instant Pot. You could even cook some of your meat in the Instant Pot overnight on the slow cooker function. That's Sarge, our dog. But have that ready. Pick a recipe and take time reading it. Alright. When you pick your recipe, first of all, you gotta keep in mind, I have ADD and dyslexia, and I have had all my life. So, when I pick a recipe, say I do sausage and peppers, and I'm going to can it. I'm going to take time, at least 2 weeks, for this recipe, to really read it. Now, I'm going to keep this close to me, of course, but I'm going to take time. I want to really read every word. I'm going to make sure I have somewhere I can set it. I'm going to take my ripped up postcard and put it in here so that I know this is the recipe. And I'm going to fold the page down too, so if the book falls off the shelf, no problem. I just open it back up and here we go again. But take time and really get to know the recipe. Alright guys, I hope that helps you. If you are a brand new canner, what are you waiting for? You got the canner. Start simple. Can water. You cannot screw it up. Seriously, you can't screw that up. Pressure can water. Get familiar with that process. The venting process. Water baths and cans. Get familiar with that process. And then go for it, man. It's like Bruce Lee used to say, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. I say you can. And after the first time you take advantage of a sale on meat, and you open that up, 3 to 6 months down the road, think, oh my god, I got this chicken for $3 a pound, and it's $5 a pound now. Hey, you're canning. That All-American, Presto, whatever it is you bought, will have paid for itself right there. Alright guys, I will give you a link to my channels, and you can go check them out.